Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayorata Matava Kunja Bihari Jayorata Matava Kunja Bihari Jayorata Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayorata Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Shri Radha Madhava ki Shri Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Pariraj Kacharya Satra Satra Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki Granta Goti Vaishnavendra ki Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Jai Go Premanande Glory Sri Assembly devotees, all glory Sri Assembly devotees, all glory Sri Assembly devotees, all glory Sri Shishi Guru Varanga, glory Sri Prabhupada. Krishna Prema Rupa Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayaniraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we should be reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25, Text 21. Titikshava Karunika Surida Sarvadehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadava Sadhubhushana Titikshava Karunika Suridha Sarvadehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhubhushana Titikshava Karunika
Titikshava Karunika
Titikshava Karunika Surida Sarvadehina
Ajata Satrava Shanta
Ajata Satrava Shanta
Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana
Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana. Vaishnavis.
Titikshava Karunika
Titikshava Karunika
Surya Sarvadehinam Achata Shatrada Shanta
Ashata Shatrava Shanta
Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana
Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana.
Titikshava Karunika
Titikshava Karunika Surya Sarvadehina Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana. Titikshava tolerant, Karunika merciful, Surida friendly, Sarvadehinam to all living entities, Ajata Shatrava inimical to none, Shantaha Sadhava peaceful, Sadhavaha abiding by scriptures, Sadhubhushanaha adorned with sublime characteristics. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Of course, this is Kapila Shiksha, a very famous shloka, describing the qualities of a sadhu, of a saintly person. And I'll read purport, I will read part of the purport, maybe we continue with the rest. But I'd like to focus on Titikshava and especially Karunika, on the tolerance and mercy of a sadhu, of course, which is the quality of a preacher, which we're talking about these days, sharing Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada's purport. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. This is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country, from door to door, preaching. Be Krishna conscious. Be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He is the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. Therefore, one of his qualities is karunika, great mercy to all fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu or devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They don't like it. That's their disease. The sadhu has a thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified, Haridas Thakur was canned with 22 marketplaces, and Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant, Nityananda, was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai. But still, they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to the fallen, all fallen souls. He is very merciful because he is the well-wisher of all living entities. He is not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. And then Prabhupada explains how the sadhu is mercy to all the living entities and that he always abides to the scriptures. And sadhu bhushana means that he is adorned with such wonderful qualities. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavad Pasyatyate Shatanine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Text again, the symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. So titikshava karunika, very tolerant and compassionate. And I guess all the Sankirtan devotees in the room will agree that these are important qualities, isn't it? As we heard, karunika, compassion, actually is the main factor, the main motivator for us to share Krishna consciousness. We like to help others. And while doing so, we need to be tolerant. Because, when you're on the street, not everyone will immediately, oh, I was waiting for you. No, you are the Hare Krishna, right? I'm looking for this Bhagavad Gita. No? Can you give me one? I take the other one also. That sometimes happens, right? But not always. It's not like everyone is just waiting for us. Some people are the way they treat us is quite mean. So one has to be tolerant in this mission, sharing Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada makes this interesting point that the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive transcendental knowledge, and actually they don't like it. They don't like transcendental knowledge. And Prabhupada said that's their disease. And we are reminded of Srila Rupa Goswami's example that he gives in the Upadeshamrita that actually Krishna is very sweet. Krishna's name, Krishna qualities, Krishna's lila, everything is so sweet. There is this song Madhuram. Everything is sweet in Krishna, but because the conditioned soul is deceased, bhava rogi, the disease of material life, being in illusion, identifying oneself with the body and having forgotten Krishna. For them, Krishna consciousness tastes bitter, and so they're not interested, they're not so attracted in transcendental knowledge. But the devotee have the thankless task, as Prabhupada says, to impress upon them the importance of devotional service. That's the task of the preacher. And of course, when we on the street and this is the books, people see from a distance, one of these missionaries. they want to give us some religious books. No. So people try to avoid. So I remember once we had some students at the Zurich temple, and then we showed them around in the temple, and it was question-answer time. And they were saying, before we came to your temple, we just visited the Buddhist center, Buddhist monastery. And the monks, they told us, we don't preach. We don't do missionary work. We just meditate, and the people from themselves, they come. And if they come, then we teach them. But we don't preach. And then she said, this is nice, no? But I see you people, you always preach, you do this missionary work. Why you do that? Just disturbing people. So why are you doing that? The Buddhists are more nice, so they're just peacefully sitting. And I was like, okay, what should I tell them now? These are some students from the university, so I thought, okay, I will tell them the story. So I told them the story of the sadhu and the scorpion. You know that story? Everyone knows. Right? There is sadhu at a little pond, and there is a scorpion drowning, and the sadhu with his hand tries to take the scorpion out, and the scorpion stinch each time. It must be very painful if a scorpion stings you. And then someone is watching the sadhu. What are you doing? Can't you see? It hurts you. And then what is the sadhu saying? What to do? It's the nature of the scorpion to sting, to hurt, and my nature is to help. So we are both engaged in our dharma. And that's the mood of a sadhu. A sadhu is always trying to help others. Regardless if people like it or not like it, it's the dharma of the sadhu. Sadhu cannot just give up his dharma. He always has to help. He has to try to help others. So I told that story. And then the student, trying to explain that, we feel compassion. We try to serve humanity. We try to help. And then she was saying, "Are you saying that I'm like the scorpion drowning? Are you guys saying that I'm actually suffering, and I need your mercy? I need your help?" And I was like, "Yes, that's exactly what we're." And then, I knew it. It is fanatical, religious. But then I kind of thought, okay, now I'm in trouble. I said, well, but that's the message of all the religion. No, it's not the Hare Krishna or kind of fanatics. This is every religion. That's the teaching of every religion. No, that this world is not a good place, and you should, this is a miserable place. We're suffering, and there is another place, which is eternal, and there you should go, and we should help you go there. That's the message of every religion. So, yeah, she was not so convinced. But that's the point. People do not understand their suffering. That's, we heard the other day, I'm good, all good, I'm fine. That's the mantra. We have our mantra, right, when we approach people. The people have their mantra. They already know, no, I'm good. Man, you're not good. That's the whole problem. That's the problem. You're not good. And of course, that's when we learn, when we hear from sadhus, then we understand this life in this material world there's so much suffering. There's so many difficulties. Of course, we know three kleshas, adi, bautika, admyatika, adidevika, so many different suffering coming from other living entities, from natural powers, from our own mind. And then there is birth, there is disease, old age, and death. And there is the 6 enemies within, I mean, so many problems, isn't it? Like, and I remember one class on Ram Navami. So as Radhanath Maharaj speaks about Ravana, like 10-headed demon, and he was such a demon, and then Maharaj said, and we all carry such a demon in our heart. I mean, 6 of them: anger, lust, greed. That's the trouble. That's the problem. That's really a problem. We have these demons in our hearts, and then there is the demons outside also. So the material world is really a difficult place. And Krishna says, like if you buy a T-shirt or some clothes, usually there is an etiquette, and it says made in Bangladesh, 100% cotton, something like that. Basically, it describes the nature of the product, right? Where it comes from, what is the nature of it. So Shri Krishna also put an etiquette to this material world. What is written there? Yeah, Dukalayam Shashvatam. That's the nature of this world. It is temporary and it's full of misery. That's just how it is. And once, what is his name? Mahadyuti Swami now. I remember once he made a point. Sometimes we are becoming puffed up and we think we saw something special, but actually everyone in the material world, is a loser, because if you're in the material world, you did something wrong. Otherwise, you're not here. Basically, said in the material world, actually everyone carries a sign around his neck. Or sometimes you see people on the street; they have a sign, like, I don't know, save the animals, or some political propaganda. They have a sign. So he said, in material conditions, all carry a sign. What is written there? Fool number 1. Basically, it's a fool's paradise. We're all those in the material world. We did something wrong. It's a place for Durga. It's a prison. It's a place for those who did something wrong. So, and Srila Prabhupada would also often quote from Rishabdev's teachings. This is 554. Nunam brahmate kurute vikarma yat indriya pritya aprinoti nasadu manye yata atmano yam asana pikleshata ashadeha. Nunam pramata. Pramata means mad, crazy. And who is crazy? The conditioned soul who runs after sense gratification. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engaged in all kind of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body, which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, Rishabdev says, I think it not benefiting an intelligent man to involve himself again in activity of sense gratification, by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. So it says the nasadu manye yat atmanoyam. For a sadhu, for an intelligent person, it doesn't befit to engage in sense gratification. Why? Because engaging in that sense gratification is the cause for having received the material body. And the material body is the cause for all the sufferings that we have. It's through the body that we receive suffering. And why do we have the body? Because we're always hankering for the sense gratification. And therefore a sadhu is not again engaging. But the conditioned souls, nunam pramate, they're mad. Mad after sense gratification. And they think I'm enjoying, but actually they're creating their future suffering. And that's madness. If you do something thinking it's happiness, but actually you only get more suffering. So a sadhu seeing all of this feels compassion. And of course that requires some realization. If you actually have realized this deeply, and then you feel compassion. And of course Srila Prabhupada, being such a compassionate personality, like the personification of compassion, we know these pastimes. I think I'm not sure whether it was Harisori or Shrota Kirti, who told the story how Prabhupada was sitting in a car and they were driving through London, like the main shopping street, and you would see the right and left people, with their shopping bags and sitting in the cafes and drinking. Prabhupada would look outside of the windows and there were tears in his eyes. And then someone would ask Prabhupada, and Prabhupada would say, don't you see? Don't you see how the people are suffering? And the devotees were, no, we don't see. No, we see people enjoying life, But Prabhupada's vision was completely different, no? Because Prabhupada could see, they're trying to be happy through sense gratification. Or there was another, on a morning walk, I think they passed by a golf field and people were playing golf. And Prabhupada was asking, what do these old men do? Like old men. And they explained, well, Prabhupada, there is a hole, and then they push a ball into the hole. And again, Prabhupada had moistened watery eyes. He was like, why are they wasting their life? Like their old age is meant to prepare, to remember Krishna, prepare. And they are trying to push a ball into a hole. And I remember I had such a realization. Before I joined, I did for 1 year. It's a temporary work. I just worked as a helper in different jobs, and then we were at an old age home, and I saw like 5 old people sitting there and playing card. And somehow I don't know. I was already on my spiritual search, but when I saw this man sitting there with the cards, I just felt like I don't want to end up like this. Just waiting till my body crushes down because I die, and just sitting there and playing card. Is that the goal of life? So I had a glimpse, of that. But that's like a great personality, like Srila Prabhupada. They really can see and feel it, and that's as we know, the family business. It's the family business of the parampara to give transcendental knowledge, to share transcendental knowledge with the people, because they need it. And even if it means that we have to take some suffering, but we have to share and help. And of course, there is this famous story of Ramanuja in Ramanuja Acharya's life. Most of you know the story, how he was instructed by his spiritual master to receive a special mantra sent by Gostinapur. And that sadhu was reluctant to give that secret mantra because it's very special mantra, very secret mantra, and only one who is very pure should chant it. And Ramanujacharya went, and it was a long journey to go there and ask for the mantra. And he said, no, you're not ready. And it's described that Ramanuja, he went, I think, 17 times to that sadhu. So repeatedly, 17 times he asked, please, give me that mantra. And then finally he agreed, okay, you could see the sincerity he gave, but please promise, only one who is very pure can chant. Nobody should chant this mantra. So don't share it with anyone. Okay. So he gave the mantra, he whispered the mantra in the ear. And he said, whoever chants this mantra will certainly go back to Vaikuntha. And then Ramanuja left the ashram of the Guru, and he was meditating on the words, everyone who chants this mantra will attain Vaikuntha. And his heart became filled with compassion. So the next village that he arrived, he just called everyone, please come, I have a great treasure for everyone. And people were becoming eager, great treasure, there is a sadhu, a mystic, he promised great treasure, let's go and see. So he stood on the rooftop of the temple, and then he would, please all come. And then he would call out, please repeat the mantra. Om Narayanaya Namaha. And then Om Narayanaya Namaha. And everyone was chanting. And then it's described, everyone would had tears in their eyes, and they felt like as Vaikuntha had appeared, they were all in bliss, they embraced each other, and they were so touched. And Ramanuja was also very blissful, now I helped to deliver so many conditioned souls. But then he also felt a bit, how will I tell my guru? And then when he went in front of Gostinapur, he was very disappointed. He was very angry, and he chastised him. And then Ramanuja very humbly, Gurudev, I'm fully aware what I did, and I'm sorry, but I felt, if so many people can go back to Godhead, then what's the problem if an insignificant soul like myself will enter into hell? It's not a big problem, but many people will be delivered. And when his guru heard these words, his heart melted, and he actually followed the feet of his disciple and said, "Now you are my guru, and I'm your disciple, because the compassion you have showed, this is such an example of compassion." And so that's the spirit. So of course the question is how to develop such compassion, right? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Jaiva Dharma, a natural human sentiment, compassion, so compassion is a natural human sentiment, but finds its highest expression in the works of a devotee of the Lord. The tenderness of the heart experienced toward Krishna is known as bhakti. The tenderness of the heart, if you have a soft heart and you actually feel love and affection towards Krishna, that's bhakti. All other jivas are servants of Krishna. When one experiences tenderness of the heart toward them, it is known as daya, compassion. Therefore, compassion is included within bhakti. So in other words, if someone has prema, love for Krishna, then if that love is directed towards Krishna, then it's called prema. And if that same love is directed towards the fallen souls, it's called daya, compassion. So it's the same love, but just directed to different. So, but that also shows that the more prema we have developed, the more compassion we have. And if we don't have prema, then how much compassion do we have, right? It's not so easy. Compassion is not a cheap thing. So compassion is not a material quality, but an extension of our spiritual consciousness. The more advanced we are, the more compassion we can feel. If you look at the dictionary, it says compassion is a feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for others' suffering or misfortune, accompanied by a desire to help remove that pain from others. Of course, in Sanskrit we have many other words: anukampana, sympathy, compassion; anugraha, favor, kindness; karuna, also compassion; kripa, or as we said, daya. And of course, Srila Prabhupada was such a personality who, because we may feel compassion to those who are dear to us. Like my mother left her body like a month ago, and she was suffering from cancer. Natural life, and when I saw her, losing her hair, and she became, kind of very weak. Naturally, my heart was I felt so much compassion. It was so painful to see her. And it was interesting, during that time, just before that, I visited an interfaith program. There was a Buddhist monk and a Christian monk and a Muslim, and they discussed about compassion. What is compassion? How to cultivate compassion? They all agreeing that compassion is something that you have to cultivate. It's not just falling from the tree. You have to endeavor. You have to cultivate that compassion. And the Christian said, "Well, at the end of the service, we give this basket around. People can drop some money." And then he said, "This is sometimes misunderstood. People think now we have to pay for the service, or entry pay, or so. But actually, it is meant to learn compassion. You have something people suffer they don't have, so you give some money, and not only a little bit, but you give a little more, so you can learn compassion." Okay, that's one way. Here's the hundi. You can learn some compassion, give some donation. And then the Buddhist said, and that was interesting. The Buddhist said, "Well, compassion is something we can cultivate by spiritual vision. And if we understand the law of reincarnation, and when we meditate, that actually we take birth many, many times, and each time we have a mother. And to feel compassion, to feel love for the mother is very natural. It's the closest person we have. So we have naturally love and compassion for our mother. So, but if we think we have taken so many births, so many people could be my mother from the past life. Okay, interesting meditation. Like I've taken thousands and millions of births, and I had so many millions of mothers. They were also conditioned souls. Maybe Makar was my mother in my previous life. Who knows? so I feel very compassionate to Makar because I have some natural. Anyhow, that was the Buddhist meditation. But in a way, the Krishna conscious meditation is not so different in a way that we understand. We see every living entity, we see the Paramatma, the soul in every living entity. We understand everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna, and we are all brothers and sisters. In this way, we feel compassion to each living entity. Of course, Prabhupada's heart bled or was bleeding to see the suffering, and he was dedicated his life to helping us overcome it. And what makes Prabhupada even more rare, that not only that he was willing to dedicate his life, but also that he had a solution to our suffering. Many people feel compassion and try to help, and then they serve a meat soup for the poor people. What help you do? But Srila Prabhupada, he not only felt compassionate, but he also had the remedy to help us. Sometimes people feel a bit disturbed by Prabhupada's teaching because they're a little heavy. No? Prabhupada sometimes is very strong. Right? Recently, there was a post on Facebook. I think Govinda Dasi, she found an old Indian newspapers. You saw that? This is a newspaper article from the 70s, and an article about Srila Prabhupada written by an astrologer. So an astrologer speaks about Prabhupada. And the astrologer says, nobody can read this chart. If they say they can, they are simply lying. So he's an expert astrologer. He says, the chart of this man, Srila Prabhupada, nobody can read. This is completely transcendental. No, you can't really understand. This is a chart of a Vaikuntha man. It is just completely beyond. And then he says, this personality comes and goes at his own sweet will. There's no karma that binds him. He's not bound by anybody or anything. The stars are lined up perfectly. There is no question of karma. He's working directly under the will of God. And when he writes, his pen does not have in it ink. His pen has in fire, which will burn the ignorance of the whole world. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Such a powerful statement. When he writes, there's not ink, but there is actually fire, and it will burn the ignorance of the world. Because the words of Srila Prabhupada are so powerful. There's so much Shakti coming from Prabhupada's word. And they are sometimes heavy. Bhaktisiddhanta would say sadhu means cutting. Yeah. Like a sacrificial goat, which is you lay the head and then you come with a sharp sword or knife to cut the throat. So the sadhu is like that. Sadhu comes and cuts. What does he cut? Not the goat, but our anartha, our ego. Whatever misconception we have, the sadhu is cutting away with his sharp words. And once I did an interview with His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami, and he very beautifully made this point that when Prabhupada speaks so hard, sometimes people get offended. But actually, this is expression of Srila Prabhupada's love. This is expression of Srila Prabhupada's compassion. Because he feels so much that we are suffering, he wants to wake us up. It's a wake-up call. Hey, wake up. No, you're in Maya. Please surrender. Please turn to Krishna. So that's Prabhupada's strength, Prabhupada's power is an expression of his compassion. And I really like that. It's a nice meditation. Whenever you come across a strong statement by Prabhupada, take it as Prabhupada's mercy. So what should we do? I mean, we said that this compassion is an expression of a very tender heart filled with prema. So what about us? I mean, I can speak of myself, and there is not so much compassion there. So, because in order to develop that vision, we need to understand material life is really suffering. But usually we still have some hope to find some happiness here. Mostly. No? At least in some corner of our brain or heart, we still have some hope in this world. So how can we be convinced, and how can we feel that everyone is suffering? Then also spiritual souls. We need to realize that everyone is a spiritual soul connected to the Lord. But when we look at the mirror, we still identify with the body. We still think, I'm this body. And so how much realization do we have? And then someone with a compassionate heart, he's always thinking of others. That's what Prabhupada writes in the purport. No, he's not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. But what's our state of mind? We usually always think about ourselves. No? Will there be enough paneer sabji for me left? No? I'm a little late. Will there be enough? So we are always concerned about ourselves. And as long as we are always concerned about our small things, how much compassion can feel? How much do we? So usually those who feel compassion are those who kind of at peace with themselves. They are kind of in a state where they are kind of they clarified, they're free from their anarthas, they're fixed, and they just want to serve, and then they get some space to actually think of others. So in that condition, what can we do? Well, we can still enlist in his mission, in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. By working for someone compassionate, we can develop also some compassion. And by serving others, by serving Srila Prabhupada's compassionate heart, we can give up selfishness and also develop a more compassionate heart. And that's why Srila Prabhupada engaged us in the Sankirtan mission, that everyone can be engaged, everyone can be part of this mission. And therefore it's so important that we know the heart of the Guru. To know the heart of, as a disciple, it's very important to understand the essence, the heart of the spiritual master. And of course, when we learn a little bit about Prabhupada, it becomes very obvious. Like, try Prabhu, the other day you read that letter that Prabhupada said, be assured the highest service to my Guru Maharaj is to distribute these books, right? And as you said, Prabhupada took a very humble position. Although Prabhupada being the world Acharya, Jagat Guru, he himself always saw himself as a disciple of his Gurudev and was always meditating about his Guru Maharaj and how everyone is engaged in his Guru Maharaj's service. And so in this way, it's so important for us to meditate about that. What is actually really Prabhupada's desire, Prabhupada's heart, and then engage in that mission. And as we said, this is the Parampara's mission, and especially this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as a Yuga avatar, as Yugadharma avatar, to spread this mission. And in the purport of today's shloka, Prabhupada speaks about how the preacher will face difficulties, and he mentioned Christ, Haridas, and Nityananda. So today is the day where we hear Sankirtan stories, right? So I thought let's hear the original Sankirtan story. And we'll try to hear this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya, Kand, chapter 13, where we find this description. So I'll just try to narrate and then we conclude. Ekkadina akkambite hoila hena matti ajana kaila Nityananda Haridasa prati. One day the Lord suddenly had ordered Nityananda and Haridas as follows. Shuna shuna Nityananda suna Haridasa sarvatra amara anya kare prakasha. Listen, Nityananda, listen, Haridas, go out and preach my order everywhere. So Mahaprabhu says, okay, you are my Sankirtan devotees, Haridas, Nityananda, you go out and preach. Like a temple president, he sees, okay, these are the most Paka Brahmacharis, you go out, you should preach. And Bhaktisiddhanta comments the Lord's order is meant for Nityananda and Haridas? Everyone. Those who are outside Varnashram, those who follow Varnashram, those who are beyond Varnashram, all living entities, all plants, the animate, the inanimate, individual, collectively, according to their ability, all should accept Mahaprabhu's orders. So Bhaktisiddhanta says, the plant, deer, flower bouquet, everyone, plant and animals, and if you move or not move, everyone should preach. This order is for everyone. What is the order? Pratikare kare kiya kare e bhiksha bala Krishna bhaja Krishna kara Krishna shiksha. Go to every house and beg in this way. Chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, follow Krishna's instruction. That's the instruction. So apart from this, you should not speak or have others speak anything else. At the end of the day, come and give me a report. No. Sankirtan devotees, they usually give reports. I heard some devotees gave report to Trai Prabhu every evening, right? Trai Prabhu is the Sankirtan coordinator in Europe, so give report to your Sankirtan leader. So Mahaprabhu expected that. I want to have a report. You. And don't speak about something else. Just chant the name of Krishna, worship Krishna, follow instruction. Don't get into any arguments, or just give the message, and that's it. Accepting the Lord's order on their heads, Nityananda and Haridas smiled and immediately went out on the streets. Being ordered by the Lord, the two went door to door and requesting everyone, chant the name of Krishna, sing the glories of Krishna, engage in the worship of Krishna. Krishna prana, Krishna dana, Krishna se jivana, hena Krishna balabhaya, hoy ekamana. Krishna is your life, Krishna is your wealth, Krishna is your life and soul. Oh brothers, chant, and sisters of course also. Chant the name of that Krishna with full attention. Both were dressed as sannyasi. At every house they went, they were eagerly invited to take their meal. So they would, sannyasis, they would be invited to take prasad there. But they would say, no bhojan, no bhajan. You do bhajan, no bhojan. They would say, our only request is that you chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow the teachings of Krishna. That's all. No, we're not here to eat. We're not here to beg something. We don't need chapatis, rotis. We only want that you chant the names of Krishna. Some people said, we will do, happily. Others said, these two are crazy because of bad advice. They're crazy. So if you're worried, this is 500 years ago, same pastime. Some people will be very happy to receive some books, receive the holy name. Some people will feel disturbed. Some said, perhaps these two are spies of a thief. No? One thief wants to rob, and he sent these two to look at the houses. When they open the door, they look, opulent house, not opulent. They're wandering door to door on the pretext of preaching. So in this way, the two daily wandered from door to door and then reported to Vishwambar at the end of the day. So this way, their Sankirtan started. Of course, they didn't have books at that time, but they gave the holy name. No? When we distribute books, this is the Priyad Mridanga, we want to give the people the holy name in the form of transcendental sound vibration of the text of the books, so they gave the name. So then one day, what happens one day? They saw two drunkards on the street. Two were fully intoxicated and acted like great rocks. There were unlimited stories about the two, and there was no sin they had not committed. Although they were brahmanas, they were always engaging in drinking wine, eating beef, plundering others' wealth, burning others' houses, killing people, like they did all kind of nonsense. The two would roll on the street and they would punch anyone they meet. If they just see someone, they just punch their face. As people watched these incidents from a distance, Nityananda and Haridas arrived there. Nityananda asked, to which caste do these belong? Why do they act like this? And then they explained, well, they were Brahmanas, but they were fallen, and now they are like that. After hearing this, the kind-hearted Nityananda mercifully contemplated how to deliver the two. The Lord has incarnated to deliver the sinful. Where will you find such sinners as these? And then Bhaktisiddhanta gives a long commentary with a long list of sins, like several pages of sins committed. It's like, Hare Krishna. If the Lord bestows his mercy on these two, then the whole world will know his glories. If I can reveal Lord Chaitanya to them, then I, Nityananda, will be known as Lord Chaitanya's servant. That was his meditation, like they are very fallen. My master is the Patita Pavan, the savior of the most fallen. So if these can be saved by my Lord will be very glorious. So that's why they need the mercy. We want to save them. And then Nityananda said, just as the Puranas sing about the deliverance of Ajamil, now let the three worlds directly see such pastimes. Like Ajamil was delivered, so now these two will be delivered. So let us go there and inform them of the Lord's order. So they went to Jagai Mata and what did they say? Bala Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Allah Krishna Nam. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pitta, Krishna Adhana Pran. Worship Krishna, chant the names of Krishna. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, Krishna is your life and soul. And how did Jagai Mata react? They became very angry. And their eyes became red and they started to scream and they ran after the two. And then on hearing their call, the two turned their heads and their eyes became red with anger, and then they shouted, catch them, catch them. And Nityananda and Haridas quickly ran away as the two rocks chased them, shouting, stop, stop. Abusing them with harsh words, they chased behind the two Prabhus who ran away out of fear. People said, we warned them before. Now these two sannyasis are in danger. No, we warned them. And the atheists, they smiled. Lord Narayan has given them a proper punishment today to this imposter. It's interesting. The atheists, they say Lord Narayan says, these are the thieves, so-called sannyasis. Now they get a good lessons. And then they're running away. And then Nityananda says, we thought it would be good to turn them into Vaishnavas, but we will be lucky if we survive today. And they run away. And Haridas said, oh Lord, what can I say? Today I will die prematurely because of your ideas. In this case, the two Prabhus were running, but because, of course, Jagai and Mother were drunk and they were a bit fat, so somehow Nityananda and Haridas, they were able to escape. And of course, they would then immediately report to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to Advaita Acharya. So at the time Nityananda and Haridas came before the Lord and reported to him what had happened. Today we have seen two strange persons. They were great drunkards, yet they call themselves Brahmana. We nicely requested them to chant. In response, they chased us, yet somehow we survived. On hearing this, we are so concerned for their benefit that Krishna will soon arrange for their well-being, what the Lord says. Because of the intention of a preacher. If a preacher just has the intention to save someone, then the Lord, sees that and he will make arrangements. And all the devotees were saying, Jai, Jai, Haribol, Haribol. So Mahaprabhu was pleased with the endeavor. But then Haridas went to Advaita and he complained about his Sankirtan partner. Sometimes we have this Sankirtan group like, Monindra and Subal Gopal are a team, and I think Manu and Shikshastakam are a team. And if you go out on Sankirtan in a van and you're always together, then sometimes, also there's maybe some conflicts. Sometimes someone is complaining to the Sankirtan, I can't tolerate it anymore. Give me another Sankirtan partner. This is getting too much. If Manidhar Prabhu would be here, he would tell a story about Manidhar and Rohini Sutta. No? They were the famous Sankirtan partner. So here, Haridas and Nityananda, they were Sankirtan partners. They were going out together. and Haridas could not take it anymore. No. This Nityananda, he's a crazy fellow. He's an avadut. He always has crazy ideas. The Lord sends me with this restless person. He leaves me behind, and who knows where he goes. During the rainy season, now he starts to complain about what happened all the couple of months before. You know, that's like how it is. You keep quiet, but then if it's too much, it's too much. So during the rainy seasons, there were many crocodiles in the Ganges, and he goes swimming in the waters to catch them. In great anxiety, I call him loudly from the riverbank, but he continually floats around waters of the Ganges, together with the crocodiles there. If he sees some boys, he comes out of the water and chases them to beat them. Small innocent boy, he just beats them. When their parents come with sticks in their hands, I fall at their feet and send them back. He steals butter and yogurt from the coward man and flees, and they catch me and want to beat me. Wherever he goes, he's unreasonable. When he sees an unmarried girl, he tells her, marry me, marry me. And then he rides on the back of an ox and declares that he is Mahesh. He takes milk from others' cows and drinks it. When I try to teach him something, he abuses me and says, what can your Advaita do to me? And Sri Chaitanya, whom you consider the Lord, what can he do to me? Nityananda says. I have not said anything about this to the Lord, but today my life has been saved by providence. There were two great drunkards lying in the streets, and he went before them to preach Krishna's instruction. In great danger, they rushed to kill us. It's your mercy that our lives have been saved. Then Advaita was smiling when he heard all of this. This is not at all astonishing, for drunkards should associate with drunkards. It benefits that the three drunkards were together. Jagai, Madai, and Nityananda. they come together, like two are drunk by alcohol, one is drunk by Krishna Prema, but nevertheless they're all drunk, so they're fitting together. But being a celibate, why you were there? No? He's asking, you're a sober. Why you're there? No, that's... Nityananda will make everyone intoxicated. I know his character very well. Just wait and see. Within 2 or 3 days, he will bring those drunkards into our assembly. Advaita Acharya said. So in this way, we find very beautiful description in the Chaitanya Bhagavatam. Of course, we know the story. Time is almost up, and then it continues. And they approach the two again, and Madai takes the earthen pot and crashes on the head of Nityananda. Blood is flowing everywhere. The Lord appears with Sudarshan Chakra ready to kill, and then actually Jagai holds Madai back, and Nityananda requests them for mercy. And finally, they both receive the mercy of the Lord and become great devotees. Shri Nityananda Rama Ki Jai. So in this way, this is the original Sankirtan story. Just on the way here, we spoke in the car about that time there was 2 Jagai and Madais. Nowadays, we have thousands of Jagai and Madais, especially in the Western world. That's why when Srila Prabhupada came, he very much emphasized Gaur Nitai. We spoke about this. In Bhaktisiddhanta mainly had Radha Krishna and Gora. No? And sometimes they also worship Gaur Gadadhar, Radha Krishna. But for us, Kali Yuga, people in the West, we require something else. We require Gaur Nitai. So Prabhupada emphasized on worshipping Gaur Nitai. So, but the point is that, as we also heard, those who have life, prana achayara, say hetu prachar, one who has life, he preaches. One who actually has understood Krishna conscious, one who feels, one who has some realizations, one who actually is connected, he will want to preach, he wants to share. He wants to share. Because that's our mission. That's the mission that we have received. That's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. That's Srila Prabhupada's mission. And I'll end with one quotation from a purport. This is from a story of the Dachi Muni. You may remember the Devas were in trouble, and Lord Narayan advised them, you go to this yogi, ask him for his bones, and from the bones you make a weapon. With that weapon you can kill Vritrasura, right? So they all went there. So can you give your not a boon, but bones? Like basically you have to give up your life, and then we use your body to make a weapon. And what did he say? Actually, of course, he was a great yogi. He understood the will of the Lord, so he agreed. But before he agreed, he kind of tested the demigods, and he started to argue a little bit. And there was some teaching, and as part, he makes the point: those who are too self-interested beg something from others, not knowing of others' pain. But if the beggar knew the difficulty of the giver, he would not ask for anything. Similarly, he who is able to give charity does not know the beggar's difficulty, for otherwise he would not refuse to give the beggar anything he might want as charity. So, and of course, that implies empathy, that implies compassion. If you really have compassion, you know how the other person feels, and then how can you not give? You will give. So, Prabhupada speaks about this moral, and then Prabhupada makes a very powerful statement. And if you remember anything from this class, please remember this one, okay? And this is how I want to end. At the present, let me see. If one is advanced in knowledge, he must always be prepared to sacrifice anything for a better cause. At the present moment, the entire world is in a dangerous position under the spell of a godless civilization. The Krishna conscious movement needs many exalted, learned persons who will sacrifice their lives to revive God consciousness throughout the world. We therefore invite all men and women advanced in knowledge to join the Krishna conscious movement and sacrifice their lives for the great cause of reviving the God consciousness of human society. Haribol, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada invites all of us to sacrifice our lives for a greater cause. And don't worry, you don't have to give your bones. That was Tadachi. You don't have to give your bones, but you just give your life, in a sense of just give your energy, your time, and dedicate it to the mission. And that's, sometimes we feel it got a bit lost in our Hare Krishna movement. Srila Prabhupada was concerned that we're not just becoming like a church where we have our rituals and have our gatherings, but we are a mission. We have a mission. And that's something we need to emphasize and share with others, that everyone who is a member of the Krishna conscious movement should feel that I'm part of a mission, and that mission is to share Krishna consciousness, share the holy name, and especially share Srila Prabhupada's transcendental books, because someone gets these books, their life, there's a potential that their life will change forever. So I want to also beg the mercy of the Sankirtan devotees. You all did a great sacrifice during the marathon, and myself, I'm not a great book distributor as such. I tried a little bit also, but I really appreciate the endeavor of the devotees who are doing that service. It's very pleasing to Prabhupada, very pleasing to Parampara, and it's very, very needed, as we hear from Prabhupada's words. So I ask for your blessings, that I may also be able to distribute some more books in the future, and also develop that compassionate heart which we require. Hare Krishna. Our time is, it's almost up, but nevertheless, I want to ask Trey Prabhu whether you like to add something, comments or realizations. Thank you.
Very realized class, very wonderful verse.
Thank you.
And we can. One time the Prabhupada said you should be enthusiastic. Then the devotee said, but what if I'm not enthusiastic? He said you should just act it like it anyway, and then you'll become enthusiastic. So we may not be compassionate, and I may not feel this burning in our heart. We may not cry when we see the suffering of others. We're most of us, myself first, have a hard heart. We don't really feel so much suffering for the other people suffering. but Prabhupada gave us a formula that how we can put it into action. We can put compassion into action by distributing his books.
Yeah.
Even we don't feel compassion for the people, even though we don't, our heart is very hard. And the wonderful thing is that by doing it, it will soften our heart.
Yeah.
And then we will develop compassion. So he gave us a perfect formula and perfect activity for demonstrating and developing compassion and acting in a most compassionate way by giving transcendental knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So when we don't have to wait to be enthusiastic, we don't have to wait to be compassionate, we should just do it.
Yeah. Don't wait till you get to Krishna Prema before you show compassion to the followers. You can do it now by simply handing Srila Prabhupada's books.
Anyone can do it. It's fun and easy, as Vaishesha Guru said.
Right. Then thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.